back to the Mad Media Podcast, everybody. I'm Ryder.
I'm John.
Today, we're going to be talking about a new movie, 2025, probably the most recent movie that we've talked about on this podcast so far. We're going to be talking about Sinners, Ryan Coogler's masterpiece. I watched it. John, you watched it. I just posted the reaction on Ryder Reacts. Go and check that out now. Johnny, what'd you think of it?
I loved it. I saw it the first time in theaters. We went.
Okay.
Week. So it is. I will say it's a lot more. It's a lot more fun in a theater with like the surrounds.
That's what I heard.
Ambiance, I guess. But yeah, I loved it. As far as a vampire flick, I think it was a lot more than just a vampire movie. Like with the way it was shot, the storytelling. I thought it was great.
From what I've heard, you kind of hit the nail on those 2 points. One, I heard that it was exclusively made to be a cinematic experience with the surround sound, with the music, obviously, but also because they changed the aspect ratio so many times. Like if you're, they filmed it in IMAX, but then they changed the aspect ratio, and you could literally see the bars come back up, and you can see them expand. And to see something like that in IMAX would be amazing. I really hope, because I don't know if people got on board with it immediately. I wasn't really a part of that. I didn't hear anything about it, but I really hope that they realize that now that the word is out after the movie's been taken out of theaters and it's streaming, that they realize that they can make money if they put it back in theaters again for like another 2 weeks, because I would pay money to go and see that. Your second point about... What was your second point? God, my brain is so fried right now.
It was a lot more than just a vampire movie.
Okay, yeah. Your second point about the vampire movie aspect of it, I didn't really get that it was a vampire movie because it's so much deeper than that. It was a movie about culture and class and racial struggle, but then it had the added element of vampire on top of it. And I know for a lot of people, it caught them off guard. They're like, well, you really didn't need the vampire movie. I mean, it really did feel like the first half and the second half are 2 completely different movies because they're 2 completely different themes. I was like, yes, I understand that. However, the vampires symbolize a lot more than just vampires attacking people. And we'll get into that a little bit later. But I hadn't seen it before. I watched it for the first time on the reaction. Like I said, go and check that out on Ryder Reacts, and go and check it out on Patreon, the full-length watch-along. And I got the experience. I got everything that I was supposed to. Like I said, if it comes back in theaters, I'm first in line to go and see that. Initial takeaway, what did you think?
Well, I thought it was, for me, it was more of like it was very much more like I put period piece before vampire movie.
Yep.
Just because, and it was very folky.
Oh, yeah.
So, and it meshed, it enmeshed a lot of cultures, like the Native American aspect of vampires, the African one, and then the Irish.
Yeah.
Because like, I gotta ask you this too. What did you think of Remick as a character, the lead vampire?
I loved him as a villain because my favorite villain, the villains that I love to write, aren't just, oh, I'm gonna kill you, Sammy, kind of villains, which I can't get out of my head. I want that to be my ringtone now. So I feel like he's the kind of villain that I would write, because a good villain in my mind is a villain who you can sympathize with his ends but not the means. And so it's kind of like Thanos. So take Thanos for example. Thanos, there's overpopulation. We need to be able to kind of control. Everybody should be fed and clothed and have a place to sleep. We can all agree with that. We don't agree with the means. But we understand that he feels like he has this terrible burden to do it. He doesn't want to do it, but he feels like it's a calling. He has to. I was like, okay, that's a multi-layered villain. Same thing with Remick. Remick feels like he's the salvation because he knows for a fact that this juke joint is going to be shot up by the KKK and taken over. And so not only does he feel like he wants to save them from that, he wants to give them a life of eternity with them. Feeling like, hey, the world has left you behind. I'm offering you an eternal world where you call the shots. And I would also like to see my ancestors again with Sammy. But yeah, I liked him. There were some genuine moments after I found out he was a vampire where I
Mhm.
still felt sympathy for him. Like that one scene where they initially get turned away from the door, I
Yep.
genuinely felt bad for them.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was that aspect of the classic vampire. You know, you can't come in
Mm-hmm.
until you're invited in, and
Yeah.
a lot of a lot of stuff like that, like the classic vampire kind of lore and stuff like that
Right.
was there. With Remick, I like one of my takeaways with Remick was how awkward he was because
Yeah.
in the movie it's implied that he said he sympathizes with a lot of these African American people too, because in their way they got land taken away, or the natives and stuff like that, in the African American people,
Yeah.
they got a lot taken away from them,
Mm-hmm.
and like it implies that he is very very old, because in Ireland they got land taken away from them from the English
Mm-hmm.
and the Christian people that came over to convert them to Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, they also had Christianity push on them,
Yeah.
and that was kind of brought up in the movie too.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first part where they come up to the juke joint, like
Mm-hmm.
you were talking about, when they come up to three,
Mm-hmm.
it implies that he is so much older than what it kind of leads off to, because in his own way he kind of doesn't even understand racism,
Mm-hmm.
because like when he's at the door and he says, "Oh, I can't come in because," and he points
Yeah.
at his skin,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that implies he's older, he's much older than he leads off to, because it's like he was
Mm-hmm.
around before racism was really a thing,
Yeah.
and it kind of, and he doesn't really understand it. Also, did you notice when he was walking up, he was wearing suspenders and a belt?
Oh no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so it's like both are used for the same thing. And like what I got out of that, I kind of laughed the second time because I didn't notice it the first time,
Mm-hmm.
but I laughed when I noticed it, because it, to me it implies that he's just trying to like kind of fit in. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
I,
Because
I
he's just
I was way too focused on everything else about him, but
yep.
that's so funny. I should go back and check that out. I remember
Yeah, that's funny.
like he just came off as very genuine, and so from a writing perspective, which I what I really liked about that one particular scene, and I'm glad that we're starting with that one scene because it's
Yep.
master manipulation at its finest. Because there's a very clear goal. Every scene has in characters. When you're an actor, you write every scene and you play every scene, knowing that in every individual scene, an actor has a need and a want and a goal, and so because of that, all the dialogue in that scene is in service of that goal, trying to figure out how you get what you want and how to manipulate the person of across the, from you to get what you want, whether it's an argument, whether it's some kind of manipulation. And here it's a very clear and present goal. For most people, they know that vampires, they can't just walk in, they have to be invited in. And so we
Yep.
know, okay, step one, get invited in. And so,
Yep.
what happens when you keep getting denied? You keep getting denied. You keep getting denied. The different flavors I got from this scene, it's not an overly creepy vampire. Oh, you want you please let me in.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
well, like, sir, we believe in equality here,
Yep. Yep.
and I'm like, oh, that is good. And he's like, and then Smoke starts to cock his gun, and Remy's like, you don't need to do that, sir. He keeps
Yep.
calling him sir, and I'm like, what is happening to my heart right now? I
Yep.
was like, this shouldn't be
Well,
feeling like this.
well, they're trying to. There's okay. Well, with that being like said, like with how they say that stuff, like
Mhm.
you don't need to do that. We'll just walk away. We'll just
Mhm.
do it slowly, just in case you change your mind.
Yeah. Now,
Um,
do you think that they would have considered sending Mary out there to see if they had money if they reacted a different way to them, if they were a little bit more standoffish? Because they came off as very genuine and genuinely hurt as they
yeah.
left. And then
Mhm.
it wasn't until really they found out that their finances weren't going to really do well in the few months that they went out to talk to them.
No, I think they would have. I don't think they would have sent him out, because in the back of their heads, originally they thought they were part of the KKK.
Yep, yep.
You know what I mean? So it's like that was. I mean, even when they say they aren't and they act decent, like
Hmm.
proper Southern man,
Yeah.
they act decent and try to put them at ease. That's still in the back of their head, because we are in Jim Crow,
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Technically, it's like it's a aspect that's in everyone's life.
Yep.
Um, To me, um, how Remick was predatory towards him wanting Sammy's music.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that almost seemed like a predatory record executive trying to get music from somebody. I
Well,
kind of took it that way. You know what I mean? Kind of
mm,
just putting on a facade,
yeah.
trying to be buddy buddy, because like that's Sammy's music. Like his father said, it's good.
Mm,
The devil's gonna follow you home. Sammy's music brought the evil to them.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And then on top of that, he wants Sammy's music.
Yeah.
Like that was one of his main things. So it's to me, it was almost like a predatory
Yeah. Yeah. No,
record
you're
executive.
you're exactly right. It's cultural appropriation.
Yep.
It's even though Remick is Irish, every group in there except for the KKK is a marginalized group. You know, you got
Hmm.
Asian, African American, Irish, Native American, and then you have the KKK. But yeah, it's all about cultural appropriation. And so what I interpreted the vampire aspect of this to be is, hey, the world is forgetting you.
Yeah.
You can either fall victim to them or join us. But vampire, I was like, okay, why vampire? And I'm like, well, vampire, according to their definition, implies a sense of eternity, but eternity while staying stagnant in your current form, exactly as you are. And so you can stay stuck without evolving. So, this coercion by the vampires almost implies that you're just going to stay exactly as you are and not evolve. And that's like anti evolution, that's anti progression in like the African American culture. I mean, the song literally that drew Remick there was a song about cultural progression and evolution.
Yeah.
And so
Hmm.
like, and then the vampire aspect is the antithesis of that by saying you're going to stay in this form forever. You
Hmm.
will not evolve for anybody. And like that's the ultimate enemy, is the opposite
Yeah.
of what we just saw from Sammy's song. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, and that's, I guess, only a vampire could really present that kind of threat
Hmm.
to
And
cultural like stagnation.
do you think, like before they were like they came up as music people?
Hmm.
Do you think, like, okay, they walked up to the juke joint and they had their instruments with them?
Yeah.
One of the things that kind of made me question this a little bit is how did they know that music was kind of going to be a way in? Like, did they hear it from miles and miles away? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I.
Because they showed up with instruments
Mhm.
after you've never seen them with instruments. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, my guess is that once Remick got into whatever the other guy's name's head, he knew
Yep.
exactly what their plan was going to was. And so maybe he heard through the grapevine that the place that they were going to be attacking, this barn, was being turned into a juke joint, and that was like your way
Mhm.
in. So
Yep.
maybe I mean, I guess I have to kind of fill in the blanks a little bit in that
Mhm.
regard. I mean, maybe he could have heard it. You never know. There were times where I wasn't quite sure what a vampire could and couldn't do because the vampire Remick twice just jumped, did like a
Mhm.
forced jump, and I'm like, I didn't know they could do that. And then seeing Smoke fight Stack, I was like, well, they don't seem much stronger as vampires.
Mhm.
So I was like, what? I need like a trading card of vampires to kind of know their
Yep.
stats, because I was like, all right, he's not stronger, but yet he can jump higher than any NFL linebacker I've ever seen.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's just his
Well, like,
legs.
and the first time you see that too is when he's running away from those Native American tribes, because it implies that he almost jumps into the frame. You know
Yeah,
what I
that's
mean?
true.
Like
That
he's coming,
scared the
he's
shit
coming
out of me.
out, when
Hmm.
his skin's burning.
Yeah.
And then I was gonna say there's a lot of history with that tribe, with Ireland too, that I found out with the
Really
research. I guess that tribe donated a shitload of money to Ireland when they were going through the potato famine, to the
interesting.
point where like in Ireland there's a monument built for that tribe. I can't remember the tribe's name, but they were in Alabama, Louisiana, and Georgia, I think.
Did it say why?
What's that? Why
Why
they
they
donated
donated? Yeah.
to supplement through the potato famine because they had no food.
But
So they helped Ireland. Oh well, because that was I guess it was going through the same time when all the relocation. with the native tribes that was
Oh,
going on
okay.
in the United
Okay.
States. And I think it was I can't remember if the Irish helped them in one way or they just saw them being oppressed
Got it.
and they wanted to help. Because one more thing too, when that guy, that Native American is dude is on the step,
Yeah.
and he says, "God help you if you let him in your home."
Yeah.
So that implies a lot because I got that as that's them warning them because they let settlers into their home and the
Oh
horrors
yeah.
that came out
Yeah,
of that. You know what
absolutely.
I mean?
Yeah, and it's very very important that the Native American character says that. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Just
then
as same as the preacher father.
yep. But I was a little disappointed that that's the only time you ever saw them. You know
I
what I mean?
know.
Because I thought
Yeah.
I was waiting for them to come back at like the end, maybe, or
Yeah.
kind of like a "I told you so" moment.
Well, I was
You know?
also hoping that they would show up. I mean, one, they seem well equipped to be able to stave off vampires, but
Yep.
two, I would have liked to see them in that cultural montage of music, just to kind of like like add their music into there. But I mean, like there was already a melting pot big enough for like an entire like week's worth of music. So
Yep. And
I get it.
you're talking like in the juke joint when they're going through all those
During
dead,
that "I lied to you," montage, yeah,
going
that
through like
awesome one shot.
that decades of like the dancers and stuff.
Yep, yep, yep.
I read I read an interesting fact about that. Yeah, apparently all the like the guitar player, he would look like he was from the Funkadelic Parliament. You know what I
Yep,
mean? I don't know
yep.
if you're familiar with them, but
Hmm.
stuff like that. But apparently what they were trying to do there, or one of the things that was brought up and it kind of matched, was all the newer stuff that you saw was descendants of Sammy, and all the older stuff was ancestors of all the people that died, because there was even
Yep.
Asian stuff in
Asian.
that.
Yep. And then you
It
had
was
like the
African.
yep, and you had yep. Okay, so everything prior was everybody else, and then everybody in the future was descendants of Sam.
Yep.
Okay, so
Because it
okay,
gets stopped right there, you know what I mean? And then Sammy lived on
yeah,
until 86, I think that
something like
was
that.
when he had
It
his.
was like the '90s when they came in because
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan came in looking like West like West Philadelphia Will Smith.
Oh, there's a there was a movie that they took that away from. It was I can't remember what movie it was, but there was a character that they modeled him after in
That's
the
funny.
80s where he
Yeah.
had like crazy like brass knuckles and stuff.
Was it the one with Radio Raheem?
Yep.
We watched
I
it
think so.
in high school.
Yeah.
God, what is that movie? I
Where
gotta
he
look that
gets,
up.
why is my camera failing?
I don't know.
Sorry.
No, you're good. It'll
Let me.
be seamless for the audio listeners.
Yep.
Radio Rahim. What is this movie?
Okay. But yeah, it's about
Do
him,
the
like
right
he gets
thing.
murdered. Yeah, he gets murdered and they like burn down stores and stuff like that after his murder or something like that.
Jesus.
But
Yeah.
there was that part of it.
Mhm.
You want to know something crazy?
What?
Um okay, so let me find it. October 16th, 1992 is when they go visit him at his blues joint in
Yep.
Chicago, right?
Mm.
And then there's a very significant film that came out exactly that day. It even had a midnight release. And there's a thing where it's like, because they meet him after hours, and like right when that movie comes out, it's a horror movie that was based in Chicago and came out in 1992. Could you guess what it is?
Is it vampire related?
No, it is.
Then
It has a slavery, like a slavery curve to it,
I have
like a backstory.
I have no idea.
So there was a midnight release on October 16th, 1992 for Candyman.
I don't even know what that is.
You've never seen
I've
Candyman?
never seen Candyman. Yeah.
Candyman's good. But
Dude,
anyway, like
I'm not horror versed. This is all new to me.
Candyman it's a horror movie, but it's also just kind of a weird movie. Like it's one of the backdrops was he is a he is the son of a slave,
Mm.
and how he dies. He's basically a folklore kind of thing, like a guy that. And you another thing too is you have to let him in. He does not come like you have to look in a mirror and say in the dark and say Candyman 3 times, and then he
Oh, it's
appears.
like Bloody Mary.
Kind of, yep.
The
And then
Candyman
also
can.
yep, he was killed during the Jim Crow era by a white mob. So
Hmm.
it's got a lot of parallels, you know what I mean, to like kind of this movie.
Hmm.
But anyway, yeah, if you haven't seen Candyman, you should check out
So are we
Candyman.
just to
So,
assume that uh, Stack and Mary just came from a midnight showing of that movie?
well, I don't know. I don't know how that matches up, but I thought it was interesting, like how many parallels the movie has
You
to
imagine just
this
like him
and
walking in and be like, "Shit,
that
that movie
day,
sucked."
right? And then also I was gonna say now that since we're like on where his club was, when Stack comes in and he smells him and he says, "You're gonna die soon,"
Yeah,
and then it cuts to him riding in the car with Stack and Smoke. Do you think that's like kind of a way of saying that they're both dead and they're riding into like the afterlife because they all died
Poss-
and they all met up back in the afterlife?
possibly. I mean, can we definitively say that Stack would be there in that afterlife? Because he seems like he's
Well,
kind of in a purgatory state.
yep. But I was thinking that I was like, that's the only thing that doesn't match up. But technically, you have to die first to become a vampire.
True. So there might be some portion
So
of your soul.
you
Like
know,
I know there was a
yeah,
description about the hates versus vampires, and like one has a soul leave behind, one doesn't technically. I
yep,
mean, it's possible. I interpreted that part more as that was the last time that either of them really felt free. And it's crazy when you think about it. If you omit everything from the 90s, that this entire
yeah,
story takes place over the course of 24 hours. And
yep,
it really puts things in perspective because when you have a small window of a small time frame like that, and you really don't get that a whole lot, like Walter White, Breaking Bad, most of it takes place over the course of 1 year.
yeah.
Um, but
It's day after day.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Except it was like expanded over like a 5 season story. However, with this 24 hours, it really kind of dawns on you near the end when, especially in the 90s, when they start playing all of the old clips from the beginning of brother hugging brother, the car
yep,
ride, things like that. You're like, oh wow, yeah, that was literally only like 10 hours ago. That's
yeah,
crazy. And you can literally see the divide between time of freedom and pure hellscape.
yeah.
It's really daunting.
It's I think that was a good transition between like him grabbing his guitar from his father and his father like heeding that warning,
Yeah.
and then he goes to that, and then the devil
Mm-hmm.
literally followed him. But I also kind of picked up like Sammy's character was kind of like formed around Robert Johnson.
Okay.
Yeah, like do you know? Are you familiar with Robert
Mm-hmm.
Johnson? The guy that sold his soul in the crossroads
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff. It was said he sold his soul to the devil, but I think he sold his soul to. There's a lot of people that dispute the devil or the gatekeeper of hell
Okay.
kind of. So kind of like the guy that meets you at the crossroads.
Yeah.
But but then I was thinking, Smoke and Stack gave him that guitar and kind of led him into a life of sin.
Mm-hmm.
We'll say, you know what I mean? Kind of like sinning on that move. So it's almost implied that they are kind of like a devilish figure to him. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? They kind of put him into that realm.
Right.
So
Um.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Do you do you think that the idea of sin really like has a whole lot to do with the people who were in that room? Because the people who gathered in that bar, demonized blues as a sinful genre, and and all I could say is, just imagine if you thought that was sinful. Look, I have news for you with the genres we have now. Um,
Well, for sure.
but like all
But
the
I
like,
mean,
were all the deadly sins present? I mean, you had adultery, you had alcoholism,
definitely had lust.
gluttony.
He definitely had lust.
Oh my god! It was like you gonna bite on more than you can chew. It was like that's not even like the
Oh,
first 10 minutes of the movie.
right. We got an education on sex ed with the ice cream analogy, you know. But yeah, I think like a lot of them, like gluttony with
Yep.
drinking,
Yeah.
vanity, of
Hmm.
course.
Yeah.
Everyone shows up in their best.
Yeah. What about
You
Greed? Is that a separate
yes,
one or okay?
I think Greed showed up with Smoke
Yeah. Oh yeah.
because that one guy tried to buy it with his wooden
That's
name,
exactly what I was thinking.
and that I think that was the greed aspect.
Now, who do you agree with
That's,
more in that scenario? The person who's trying to keep the business afloat, or the person who's just trying to give people a good time? Because you need a
uh,
balance of both, and which is why I kind of like that they were a partnership.
well, in their situation, I kind of agree with the guy that just wants to give people a good time because I think it's implied that they ripped off their bosses in Chicago,
Yeah.
like stole all that alcohol, stole the money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think it's implied that they're on a clock that's
Yeah.
ticking. I think so. It's like I don't think they know how much time they have because
Mm.
it's only a matter of time before somebody came looking for them.
Yeah. Well, they also
You know,
looked at the numbers and they said, okay, here's the top line. Here's what the plantations are offering these people who are our patrons, and the bottom line, here's what we make out of real cash, and we'll be out of fresh cash within 2 months. And that's when Stack really started to kind of sober up, and he's like, okay, what do
yeah,
we do? Well, we got to go
yep,
out and ask those white folks over there for some gold.
yep, yep. And then there was that, and then with I don't know, like I think they were in such a hurry.
Yeah.
The hurry up part of that kind
Yeah.
of got me thinking because it's like somebody has to be on their tail
Well, that was
because
Stack. Smoke wanted to
yep,
postpone it for until next week.
yep, yeah, yeah, because what was the reason behind that again? I can't remember. Or was there a reason he just wanted to postpone it, get everything ready?
Maybe it's just because they wouldn't have enough time and they would have to split up, and then they ended up splitting up
Yeah.
anyway just to get it done.
Oh,
Oh,
and then
because
I thought
Haywood set them back because he was late.
okay,
Yep.
yep. I thought another interesting part. Remember when he tells Sammy that you can drive the car back when we go home,
I picked up on
and
that.
at the
Yep.
end of the yep.
Yeah.
But
There's so much foreshadowing in there. Like even
yeah,
Slim saying, "Shit, that's probably more time than I got left on this earth." Stack. I'm like, yeah, by like 9 years, 11 months, 29 days, and probably 11 hours.
yep. Well, I think part of like him wanting to push it back is I
Mm,
don't think he was. I think he kind of thought they wouldn't be able to do it all in
mm,
one day
yeah.
because it like when you go to that town, those the Asian people that ran those stores,
Mm,
they money talks.
hmm
So
I love that.
if they weren't able to do it, you kind of weren't able to do it. You know what I
Right.
mean, kind of
Right.
thing. It's like
Yeah.
so. And also, did you notice? There's a lot of history behind that too. How they had two stores
Uh huh. Yep.
because it
I
was
knew, and I
Mhm.
was gonna get to that point, but continue. Go on.
I was going to say in the Jim Crow era because it was split between white stores and black
Hmm.
stores, but Asians catered to the black people as well. They
Yep.
didn't really play that game, I guess.
Hmm.
And then people are like, well, why were there so many Asians in the South? Asians were brought in after the abolishment of slavery.
Hmm.
Asians were brought in as a part of labor,
Yep.
but
Cheap
then
labor.
the but it didn't end up lasting because they got paid so shitty. They just ended up opening stores
Right.
and catering to the community.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead,
But they
on what you wanna say
but they
there.
started out on the railroad. I mean, one of the most offensive slurs that you can give them came from their time on the railroad.
Yeah,
But you're welcome, I guess. Um, but anyway, yeah. So the artistry of Ryan Coogler, I was noticing. Okay, there are quite a few one shots in the film. Now, the one shots are meant to depict, like it's meant to direct your attention to only one singular thing, whether it's the profile of a character or whether it's a thought process or even like a musical montage like that.
yep,
So he used it deliberately. So he followed and tracked the daughter going from one side to the other, and so we could see
yeah,
as she was taking step by step by step, we saw the world around her change. Going from one
mhm,
side of the street to the other side of the street, you saw nicer cars, nicer dressed people, all white people, mama, daddy wants to see you, and then you
yep,
got to see that again and going back to the detransitioning over to the black side, and it was
yep,
very deliberate, and I picked up on it immediately. I thought that was
yep.
brilliant that he did that, and
And then
she's
also,
awesome.
yep, and then also you can hear it in their when they talk. the dad kind of has like a southern draw,
Oh yeah.
almost like almost like he's been around Africans. You know what I mean? Like he talks like an
Or
African
just in the
American
South for
somewhat.
yeah.
Yep, just in the South. And then
Yeah.
you go to the mother's side and she's in the white store, for lack of better words.
Yeah.
But she talks very proper and very, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you can hear it in their voices.
Yeah.
Also, that part where they follow it, like they do the over the shoulder following or whatever. My brother brought up that that's very Tarantino-ish, like with Tarantino movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I did some research. This movie is very, very much this damn camera.
That's fine.
The movie is also very um inspired by From Dusk Till Dawn, a Tarantino
Yeah.
movie.
Yep.
Like vampire.
Yep.
So I did a little, like, I thought that was interesting. Like they're stuck in it, you know. It's not a juke joint, but it's a strip club in Tijuana. You know, so it's like, but it has the same elements. You know what I mean?
Yep. I will say in the beginning, there probably were a few things that I had to catch up on. Like I didn't know initially what a juke joint was. I didn't know, some of the things that they were saying. Like my God, if like Slim hadn't like sobered up a little bit, I wouldn't have understood a single word he said. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, and God bless that the daughter of the Asian daughter. Like she
Mm-hmm.
tried her best. That actress tried her best at a southern drawl. He's like, you little Lisa. And she's like, guilty of charge. And I'm like, oh shit, no.
Right.
But yeah, that was such an amazing scene, and like we were getting to know the twins still, and
Yeah.
right from the very beginning, just how they stand, how they look, you can see, okay, there's a difference. One's wearing a red hat, he's probably more hot-headed. One's wearing a blue beret, he's, probably calm, cool, and collected, which is why I think it's so important that Smoke was the one to suggest putting it off. He's more practical.
Yes.
He thinks if there's not enough time and if you don't have to rush, he's probably, I don't like to be rushed, so I'm not going to be rushed. I'm going to put this off until next week so we can have all our ducks in a row. And then Stack was never one to think something through, which is
Yep.
always why he's like, hey, little cousin, watch your older cousin.
Yep. An interesting thing about the outfit stuff like that. The lady that got hired to do the outfits and everything for this movie was actually working on a period vampire piece before this that got canceled.
Can I say what
She
it
was
is?
Yep, go for it.
Blade.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Rest in peace. Please. Goddamn. Rest in peace, Mahershala Ali.
But she was basically working on Blade, so she was ready for that period vampire piece basically. And then I guess the producer, he couldn't find a hat, the red hat that was it Stack was wearing.
Stack
was wearing the red hat. He drove all the way to LA, and he went on like Rodeo Drive, and he found the hat. And that's when he knew. He was like, that's the hat. Because like Stack, he explained Stack is he's very elegant.
He cared about his outer appearance. Yeah.
Yes. He had almost like, he said he's almost modeled after like almost like a pimp. You know what I mean? Because he was flashy.
He even called himself a pimp when he was a vampire.
Yep. Yep. And then like that might have been kind of part of his thing when he did in Chicago. He might have ran, prostitutes or whatever.
Yeah.
But then Smoke, the blue hat, you see it on his hat, and then you see it on that lady's dress that's doing kind of like that voodoo in there.
Yep.
Apparently that color was meant to ward off evil spirits.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so it's like, but then you also see, he also said that Smoke had looser clothing and stuff like that because he carried a lot of weapons.
Yeah, and he really did. He was double barreled like the entire time.
Because like Smoke, he had a lot of the guns, and then Stack carried a knife.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like that kind of yin yang. He said he didn't know how Stack was going to look exactly until he found the hat.
You know what's funny? Isn't it funny how that ends up working? Like a lot of times you don't know, and I hear this a lot of times from actors, is that they don't get into full character until they put everything on. And then they go, oh, now it makes sense. Okay.
Well, it's kind of, and people notice like the small things on characters too. It's kind of like, in the 70s when people used to, I listened to like interviews about people that would rob banks in the 70s,
Yeah.
and they would say, you don't put on a big elaborate thing. You put a band-aid over your nose. That's it. Because what is everyone going to say? He had a band-aid over his nose. They look at the oddity. They don't, and they're not paying attention to what you look like. Me, I'm a redheaded guy with gauges. I couldn't rob shit. You know what I mean? There's probably 5 of me in the United
Yeah.
States. I'd picked up like that. But like there was one robber that said that. He said, do as little as put a grease smear on your face, a band-aid over your nose. He
Yeah.
said, don't cover up your identity at all because people are going to notice that over what you look like.
Yeah.
So I think it's, the little things.
That damn Asian with the sleeve tattoo stole 500 pieces of Laffy Taffy. That son of a bitch. We gonna
An
find
Asian
him.
Asian with a sleeve tattoo in New York. That's going to be a hard one to find, I would say.
I don't know. I mean,
Maybe,
I'll
yeah.
find some way to just some way to single myself. But like, hey, he ran through the glass door. It's so funny how you can see that. Like, you don't often get characters who play doubles, and the artistry, we could talk about that later. Just the cinematography, how they shot the two twins was so great. But also Michael B. Jordan, a testament to his acting that he can find a way
Yep.
to have chemistry with himself,
Yep.
which is crazy. But also, I do think there was one other thing that I noticed between the two twins, other than their demeanor, but going back to the weaponry, the types of guns that each person had. So,
Mhm.
Smoke had a gun that's more, I don't know the actual name of it, but it looked like it was more synonymous with good guys, with like heroes, like a standard like police kind of weapon. And then Stack had almost like a Luger that you would see the Germans have.
Yep.
With the really narrow barrel that Mary had and was when she went out to go meet with the vampires. And I'm like, yeah,
Yep.
that's something that you normally would see in like a Bond villain movie.
Yep. Well, Stack had a 1911, right?
Sure.
Uh, yeah, I think it's a Colt 1911. It was very much around that time because
Yeah.
they were both soldiers in World War One.
Yeah.
1911s.
Yeah.
That was the standard
Mhm.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, when he shoots that guy that's trying to rob his truck, yeah, I believe that's a 1911. But yeah,
The bigger one, the bigger gun, because that was Smoke.
oh yeah. So you're talking
Stack.
Stack had the Luger.
Yeah, because Stack was
Okay.
more. If you were to kind of categorize the two twins, were like who would be a hero, who would be a villain. Stack was leaning more on the erratic villainy side. He kind of had some Ed the hyena from Lion King kind of vibes that every now and then. There's like loose cannon on the cop. Like he's that one rabid grasshopper in A Bug's Life that they have to keep on a leash.
Well, yeah. To me, Stack was very much. He was kind of the guy that acted fast, and
Yeah.
then Smoke was kind of his center. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? He's like,
Mhm.
all right, because Stack was going to invite them in right away,
Yeah.
and then Smoke's like, oh, hold on,
Yeah,
and
Stack's
all
like,
that stuff. So it's like,
they ain't bad.
yeah. So it's like I think he's more of the voice of reason,
Yep.
I guess you could say.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now we got to talk about the music, because
I love it.
without the music, it's a completely different film. It's not the same film. It doesn't have the same weight. The music is just as much a character in this film as anything else, as the camera, as is any of the actual actors in it. So the music, everything was deliberate. So a lot of people, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this one is because so many people commented on my Get Out reaction saying that I had to react to Sinners because it has a lot of those same musical elements, a lot about slavery, Negro spirituals, all that stuff. And yes, when you're talking about the cultural appropriation of African American music has been rampant through the 1900s. Like that's what Elvis's criticism pretty much comes from, saying that he appropriated a culture. He's called the king of it now, and he gave no credit to all the gospel people that he kind of took all that music from. Like Hound Dog wasn't his,
No. Nope.
So
Well, but on to, like to your point, every music we have nowadays is African music. Like there isn't a genre really. You know what I mean?
except for most classical music, I will say.
Classical. Yes,
Yeah.
classical.
Yeah.
Yes. But like stuff from 1900 on.
Hmm.
That's all, like almost all of our music, like our, rock and roll, our funk,
Hmm.
all that stuff came from slave music, or it came from Delta blues,
Yep.
came from all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then I thought with the music, choices, like Rocky Road to Dublin,
Hmm.
that just showed where Remick was from. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
just solidified he's Irish.
Hmm.
And a fun fact about this too, Remick learned how to play banjo just for this movie.
Wow.
Like yeah, and then I guess he was like back in he's English, he's
Mm.
not Irish,
Yep.
he's
Yep. Yep.
England. But I guess he's known how to do like Irish dancing since he was a little kid.
Mm.
So like him doing his Irish dancing and stuff like that, he's been doing that all his life. So that's one reason why he got casted
That's
too.
amazing.
Yeah. But I thought the song choices were so fun
Oh yeah.
because like when they first introduce themselves,
Mm.
they sing
I
Pickle
picked
Robin
bull
Clean.
Robin
Yep.
clean. I would
It's
have picked
such
the body, but it wouldn't fit
yeah,
it. I picked bull.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's a fun song,
It
but it's
is.
so sinister.
Yep.
So
And
it
then it
fits so
reprises in a much more sinister way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There were a lot of songs like that, and like you could hear in some of the blues songs that they just had in the background too.
Mhm.
And their sound choices and their mixing was very good because they're even like when you needed to be bluegrass, you would be bluegrass. When you needed to be
Yep.
bluesy, you would be bluesy. When you needed to be Celtic folksy, you could be Celtic folksy.
Mhm.
Like one of my favorite Celtic songs, honestly, is that "Will You Go, Lassie."
Yeah,
Will
it's
you
a great
go?
song.
I've heard like that Parting Glass. I love
Yep.
Celtic music. But there is if you go back once you've established, because I watched the movie twice, once for the reaction and then right after again just to kind of pick up on other parts. There are lots of themes from songs that you hear later on in the movie that start off early on as like little undertones. And so that song that Sammy does at the very end where it's like, and it feels like a long time for the last time, that you could hear little elements of that in the scenes where we're introduced to Smoke and say, and they're more intimate moments. You've got
Yep.
the big numbers, but then you also have to really like there's a clean guitar riff in the scene where Stack is opening his heart up to Mary, telling
Mhm.
her why he can't be with her. And
Yep.
it was it was unlike any intimate scene I've ever seen because it had such a different feel with that clean guitar and the synths in the
Yeah.
background. And I'm like, this just hits so differently and I love it.
Yep. I liked I thought the callbacks to the music were very very good too because
Mhm.
like the Rocky Road to Dublin,
Yep.
they're singing that when they're all doing their like dances
Mhm.
outside and they're all like in a circle, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But then when he gets stabbed, Rocky Road to Dublin starts playing again.
Yep.
But it starts playing in like a different key or
Hmm.
something. It's
Yep.
like a
Yep.
little bit slowed down or whatever.
Hmm.
Um I guess an interesting thing that the producer said he loves the song "One" by Metallica. I don't you've heard
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
heard
Yeah.
he said he modeled the music almost after that
Hmm.
because like some of the like music choices because he wanted to start on a slow and then it to build
Yep.
kind of thing. And I
Mm.
guess Lars Ulrich did some drumming for this movie. Like
Cool.
did a little bit of
Cool.
like a little bit of the drumming. But to me, like Delta Blues, I just love Delta Blues
Hmm.
because it tells a story, but it doesn't give you a lot.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it's so personal.
Right.
Like it's a very personal music
Hmm.
because it's Delta Blues is struggle. It's
Yeah.
just nothing but struggle. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There's no happy Delta Blues music.
Right.
There's some, but
Hmm.
it's vulgar. Let's just put it that way. It's
Right.
it's either about losing someone, being depressed, or having sex. That's like really
Yeah.
all. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like Robert Johnson had some upbeat music, but it was about having sex.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, you know, but that time in the Mississippi Delta too, it's interesting. It was just an interesting like way. And then when Sammy and the other dude were like blending their own music too,
Slim.
I thought yeah, Slim.
Yeah.
I guess Sammy, the guy that played Sammy, is like a musician, like a touring
He
musician.
tours with her.
Yep. Yep,
recording. Yep.
that's what I heard. Yep.
And she
But
actually
I
was the one
guess
who goaded him into auditioning for this, which
yeah.
I thought was cool.
Yep. But the guy that the Slim,
Yep.
I
I've seen him before in other things.
yeah, he's a he's
Isn't
a
he
big
British
actor.
too,
But
or no?
um I don't think he's British.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking
I
of
mean, yeah.
Remick.
Every time I see him, I always think of his role in Gone in 60 Seconds when
Yeah,
he's the cop in Gone in
yeah,
60
yep,
Seconds.
yeah. And
But like, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say his relationship with Sammy is interesting because it brings me back to a discussion that we had in our music history classes. So our music history classes, yes, we went through all the genres from the Negro coded spirituals to
Yep.
ragtime, turning into the blues, turning into jazz, turning into rock, and everything else. Kind of like you said, there's a never ending timeline that stems from like Swahili African spirituals making their
Yep.
way onto American Southern plantations and all that stuff. But we had this discussion because it kind of fell in line with cultural appropriation, where a lot of African Americans would be mad at white people not only for taking music, but taking music that they didn't earn. For example, the same kind of situation happens between Slim and Sammy, where Slim says, or Stack says, this is my cousin Preacher Boy. He has to be the finest blues player in all the Mississippi Delta, and then like Slim's like, shit, I got socks over there. What the hell do you know about the blues? And
Yeah.
that was a real problem with a lot of people when they felt like the people who could only sing a certain genre or could only sing blues had to earn it. They had to have enough hardship and gone through enough trauma and life to be able to understand the blues. And here comes Sammy just singing it because he's good at sounding like that genre. So what do you think? Do you think that do you
Well,
think a genre like blues is something that you are kind of up, like raised up in, and you kind of earn, or do you think it's kind of for everybody?
well, I think at that time
Mm-hmm.
it was very much the area you were raised. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because like
Mm-hmm.
Delta blues was not that far north from the Mississippi Delta and
Yeah.
Louisiana and stuff like that. To be honest, I can never agree with like you earning music.
Mm-hmm.
If you're good at something and you
Mm-hmm.
love to play
Mm-hmm.
it, because that just it takes me back to and I catch myself doing it too, being that old grumpy bitchy soul that tells kids that if a kid wants to listen to Black Sabbath nowadays, it's like, well, that was our music in high school and stuff like that or whatever, or they don't understand music. It's just I think it's a lot of that, like
Mm-hmm.
just like this was mine and I don't want to
Yeah.
give it up kind of thing.
Yeah.
But music is music's timeless.
Yep.
So you and B, it's no one's music is no one's like thing. You know what I mean? It's like it
Right.
can be your thing, but
Mhm.
that doesn't mean it can't. If a 12-year-old kid wants to play Black Sabbath,
Yeah.
okay. You know what I mean? But I just think it was part of that, like, and then I don't know the struggle that Sammy went through probably wasn't the same.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he was looking at it from a point of that. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like I struggled a lot for this music, and now you're just picking it up. And he probably doesn't see Sammy going through a lot of the hardship he did just to
Mm-hmm.
play this music,
Yeah.
and he's kind of jealous of that,
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't agree with like, it's my music, so you can't play it.
Well,
That's just
no, and I would never tell somebody that they can't play it. I think I'm kind of near in the middle. Whereas, yes, music is for everybody. If it means something to you and you can get something out of it, have at it. It is nobody's genre. However, I will say, if you're going to take something that is rooted in such trauma and deep-seated oppression like the blues,
yes.
even going all the way to like something like even more modern like jazz, like understand
Mhm.
if you're gonna take a song that was written because somebody just watched like half of their family being lynched before their very eyes, and you use it to apply to the fact that your parents didn't let you go see that movie last night with your friends,
Yeah.
like
Yep.
if as long as
I
you
can
have as long as you have an understanding as to where this music came from, and you
Mhm.
don't and you respect it. You don't trivialize it by applying the hardships that it were endured during that to your mundane traffic bullshit.
Yep.
Something like that. At
But,
least that's just a suggestion. Just understand and respect where the music came from.
yep, I understand. Like, I understand what you're saying. Respect it.
Yeah.
Have a respect for it.
Yeah.
But also, you have to understand people aren't going to walk in your shoes. You know what I mean? Kind of thing.
Right,
It's
right,
like-
right, right, right. Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm coming from. It's
Yeah.
like you said, your whole family got lynched. It's
Yeah.
like, so now a 20-year-old kid
Mm-hmm.
nowadays doesn't face that kind of adversity and stuff like that.
Hmm.
You can't be mad at that because it's not his
Yeah.
fault.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I get where you're coming from.
And of course,
people
yeah.
people died for it, and
Yeah.
they think they protect it.
Yeah, and I'm not going to feel as strongly about the topic as Slim would. So I get that.
Well, it's very much like I mean, it's not Irish, but Scotland. Like when Scotland had bagpipe music
Yeah.
back in like the 1200s or whatever, bagpipes were outlawed, so they would play it at funerals and they would play it in secret.
Mm.
So like I could understand that, like you could die to playing this music, right? And then if that changes and you see somebody just out playing it, willy nilly, I could see why there would be some animosity, almost jealousy about that. You know what I mean? Because it's like I wasn't able to do it.
Yeah. Good luck.
I could,
Good luck. You better have a padded room. Good luck playing that instrument in secret.
oh yeah. Well, like in Braveheart, when they're playing their bagpipes at that funeral,
Mhm.
they could only play it like at funerals and stuff like
Yeah.
that because they were outlawed. So it's like that's when they did it.
I just imagine
I
somebody
love
like
bagpipes.
I just imagine somebody like in their closet going, "Is nobody around? Okay, here we go."
Yep. Oh yeah, like you would have to make sure no one's miles.
I know,
Yeah,
because
so-
like that's not a quiet instrument. You don't have a mute on a bagpipe.
no, yeah, but
Um,
yeah, I that's kind of I get where you're coming from. Though,
Remind me to tell you something offline. I just thought of something.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, so the music element just completely
Mm-hmm.
takes us in a different direction. And do you think it's significant that that the vampires had Celtic folk music and that the protagonists had blues? Do you think that there's like a specific distinction between why each had their own separate genre of folk? Or is just the cultural difference?
Cultural difference.
Okay.
I'd say, like are you talking like the vampires
Yeah.
had
Yeah,
different?
yeah.
Like, well, the vampires, they said they were from North Carolina.
Okay.
I think Remick said they came from North Carolina or whatever, or one of the Carolinas, and they
Yeah.
were looking for a party.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you go to Carolina, there's probably going to be a lot more, not so much Delta blues with the guitar, but
Mhm.
more like probably some wash basins, maybe some fiddles.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's going to be a different vibe altogether. So I'm guessing that's kind of where it came from.
Yeah.
Different areas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, and you come up to like what was it Buddy Guy? That was the guy that played Sammy later on.
Oh, I don't think
Or what was his name?
I'm gonna look it up. Keep going.
Yeah. But that like the blues player that played Sammy at the end, he was famous for Chicago blues, and that's that's a whole other world compared to Delta blues. It's the same, but it isn't. You know what I mean?
Yep, Buddy Guy.
Yeah, Buddy Guy, and like BB King, stuff like that.
Ooh.
They played blues, but
Mhm.
it was different. You know what I mean? Delta blues was its own thing,
Yep.
and
Actually-
it was,
I actually worked a BB King show.
really.
Yep. I got to make sure all the guitars were in order and where they were all tuned. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was one of the best
Oh, that's
events I've ever been to. Yep.
Yeah.
So a couple things. One, Remick, when he's talking to Mary, he says that his gold is from a different time.
Yes.
What do you think that means?
Well, it's implied that Remick is 1,000 years old.
Okay.
So, I mean, it could be from back
so just
home.
so just
you
in the
know,
past, not a different reality. We're not getting into MCU multiverse stuff. Okay.
No, I don't think it's multiverse kind of thing. I think it's just because he's been around for a long, long time.
Yep, yep, yep.
Then gold was a form of currency, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
In
Yeah.
some places, it could have been in the in the United States. It could have been Caribbean. It
Yeah.
could be, it could have been from Ireland,
Mm-hmm.
like back in the Crusaders. I'm sure they used gold.
Yep.
But yeah, I think it was very much just like where he was from.
Yep.
And then on top of that too, on Spotify, they made these little like newspaper clippings, I
Yeah.
guess,
Yeah.
for whatever. And there's a newspaper clipping about how Remick got to the United States. I guess there was
That's cool.
a ghost ship basically where it showed up and there was no one on it, but there was
Mm.
blood stains everywhere.
Huh.
So it was implied that Remick came here, killed everyone, maybe turned them into vampires and stuff like that. And then there was people that said they saw a smoking body leap from the ship.
Hmm.
And then I guess the producer and stuff like that, whoever made that, used a lot of parallels with Nosferatu because
Okay.
Nosferatu, it's the same thing. He came here on a ship, and then it showed up basically as a ghost ship, no one on it.
Gotcha.
Yep. But
Interesting.
yeah, as far as the money, I think it was
Yeah.
just from a different time because Remick, I mean, like I said, the same when he's wearing a belt with suspenders,
Mm.
he's trying to blend in.
Yeah.
How long has he been doing that? You know what I mean?
Right.
He comes to different cultures, different stuff like that. One thing I wish we had a little bit more backstory on is why those natives were chasing Remick.
Yeah.
Because did they give him shelter or something, and then find out he's a vampire? Like that's what
That's
I
a good
wish I knew.
point. Yeah. Maybe he was seeking shelter, but then again, he would have outed himself.
Yeah,
So.
well, that's what I mean. It's like he came there,
Mm.
maybe just trying to find refuge or
Yep.
whatever, just trying to find like a place to stay, and then they found out he's a vampire, and
And
now they're
so
trying to track.
all of this conflict kind of just happened circumstantially, that he just so happened to have happened upon the clan nephew, the Grand Master, Grand Dragon's nephew's house, and only then
Yep.
did he see his thoughts and realize what they were about to do. Which kind of leads me into my next question, which is,
Yeah.
so they came in, the vampires, saying that they were going to save the juke joint from the wrath of the clan, saying that they eventually would go and attack
Yeah.
and destroy the clan themselves, but they wanted to save these guys too, which is a little, contradictory. But then
bit.
Remick said, he wanted Sammy. He wanted Sammy
Mhm.
because he wanted to see his ancestors again. And then he even pleaded with them. He said, if you give us Sammy, we will leave and leave you alone. So I don't believe that would happen because they came initially saying that they wanted to save all of them with fellowship and love and all that stuff. What alternate ending? What do you think would happen? Do you think anything would happen differently if, God forbid, they gave up Sammy?
I don't know. I think, well, it was weird because he was using the music as an angle to try to get Sammy. Like I heard that guitar playing out here.
Mm,
Like not even seeing Sammy. He's like,
mm,
you must be the one with the voice.
mm.
Basically, um, I don't know. Like his intentions aren't really stated
Yeah,
of why he wants. I just think he wants numbers. I think it was a way for him to get one more.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
mm,
I think he's just building up numbers because he's trying to convince them that he's like, I sympathize with you, and I'm trying to get you guys to live on and be free from
yeah.
persecution and all that stuff. But I don't know if he wanted him for his music
Hmm.
or what, but I just think it was an angle that he took trying to get his way into the juke joint or
Yeah.
get Sammy to come.
I might do a video of like an alternate ending if they gave Sammy up
Yeah.
and it like created a ripple effect elsewhere. But I also have this really funny idea in my head where
Mhm.
the entire world has been turned into vampires and it's nothing but a bunch of people who can't get into their own homes.
Yeah. Have you ever?
Somebody let me in.
Oh man, there's a show. We might have to talk about it off air because I might have to look it up. But there's a show about this town where these people like you'll drive into this town
Mm-hmm.
and then you can't escape. Like you drive away and it just keeps bringing you back to this town. And then
Damn.
there's these like monsters that are trying to get into your house. Like you have to let them in,
Mm-hmm.
and they put like runes and stuff around the doors and stuff like that.
Mm.
But these monsters will sit at your door all night and knock on your door and just be like, "Let me in." You know what I mean?
That's
Like saying like
horrifying.
it's
Oh
crazy.
hell no.
I can't remember the name of it, but I'll tell you like off
Mm-hmm.
air. But it reminds me a lot of that. Like that that show basically takes it to a whole other extreme
Mm-hmm.
with like them trying to get in. Also, I think they're looking at with Sammy, I think they're looking at a way for them to get in. With that lady, they kind of found a way to get in. You know what I mean? Like she came to them, but she's a familiar face.
Mm-hmm.
They will let her in.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I think it's a numbers game for them. Like
Yeah.
as far as like if somebody comes out, and then just like that
Yeah.
Asian guy, what was it?
Bo.
What's his name? No, the Asian guy, but the guy that watches the door. I can't remember
Oh,
what his name
cornbread.
is. Cornbread.
Yeah.
Cornbread's eating that guy, like munching on that
Oh,
guy, and then he
yeah.
comes up flipping his keys, and he's like, "I'm ready. We got the car's ready and all that stuff."
Yeah.
And
No
it's just,
cornbread. He's just hungry.
yeah, cornbread.
Like
My thing is, it's like with cornbread, it's like you have to walk a mile to take a piss. Just go around the corner.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know.
It's like you don't walk that
And
far.
they literally make a joke out of it. It seems like, oh, he's probably building a new house. He took a piss 2 damn days ago.
Yeah, talking about it was the catfish sandwich that messed up his stomach.
Yeah.
But I think it was just them trying to get in, like or just using Sammy as I'm a musician, you're a musician, we have that
Mm-hmm.
bond or
Yeah.
in common.
Yep.
I guess I don't know. They're very deceptive,
Mhm.
and they're just trying to get in. Kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yep.
One thing about the vampires, I read something that said that the vampires they modeled their eyes off of animal eyes basically.
Okay.
It's called tapetum lucidum or something like that. I think I might be saying that wrong. I wrote it down, but it's basically like when you shine a light on a deer or a cat's eyes, it has a layer in the back where it reflects the
Mm-hmm.
the light back at you,
Yeah.
and that's kind of how they get the glowing eyes.
Hmm.
Now, an interesting thing is, did you notice that their eyes are all different?
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
except for the three.
Oh well, like I
Yeah.
noticed Mary's versus Remick, and
Mhm.
then I didn't really get a good look at the couple. I know Michael B. Jordan's looked a little different.
Yeah.
Especially when he was like in the closet still.
Yep. Michael B. Jordan's were purple.
Oh.
Like they had a purple tint to them.
Okay.
Mary's were green.
Yep.
The Asian dude, he almost had like a silver.
It was very
like
translucent almost. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Remick and his three the other two people, they had red eyes. Now, there's a theory because Michael B. Jordan and the producer of this movie are like super big nerds, I guess.
Don't tell
And,
me it was a Star Wars thing.
It was.
Son of a bitch.
Like there's a thing that it's not solid. You know what I mean? It's not a for sure thing, but people think it was a Star Wars thing for Mace Windu because Mace, because Samuel L. Jackson told the guy, he's like, I want my lightsaber to be purple.
Son of
And
a
he said
bitch.
he said that good guys are green and blue and bad guys are red. But I guess they're like a super big like Star Wars fans and stuff like that. So I think Michael B. Jordan's eyes are purple for that reason. For
Good
Mace Windu's
God.
character. Don't hold me to that.
I'm
but
surprised.
I'm
Surprised he didn't have Stack when the rattlesnake appeared. Going, I'm tired of this motherfucking rattlesnake on my motherfucking truck.
Right? Truck. There's a weird parallel with that too, with the when he stabs the snake. I guess that is reminiscent of him stabbing Remick at the end.
Okay.
I guess it's supposed to foreshadow that.
At the head.
Like,
yeah. All right.
Because when you look at the snake, the eyes are almost red.
Oh. Wow.
And then he stabs it, and then it's like bleeding out or whatever. And then
Yeah.
at the end, he stabs Remick.
I'll be
I guess it's
perfectly
supposed to,
honest. I was too
kind of
busy
foreshadow.
getting jump scared and grossed out to like remember anything. Whenever I go,
yeah.
whenever I get jump scared, like I have a lapse in memory. It's
Yep.
so strange.
We have. I was. This is kind of off the subject of the movie, but the Missouri River
Yep.
in North Dakota. There's
It's funny.
signs on bridges, like when you're going under them with boats, that say "Watch out for falling snakes,"
Oh
because
my god.
we have rattlesnakes around that or whatever, and they'll go on the bridge and they'll drop in your boat.
Oh, what the hell is your state?
Oh well, North Dakota, it's an interesting state. We have a lot of extremes, and then
That's like the
but yeah,
Australia of America, as far as I'm concerned.
without like crazy spiders and stuff like that. But
Falling snakes.
rattlesnakes, yeah. Well, like rattlesnakes though are only on the western part of the state. The eastern part is more like the closer you get to like Minnesota and stuff like that, there's no rattlesnakes. But where I grew up, that was kind of the fault line. You would see rattlesnakes on the roads. I've never seen one walking. Like, and I did a lot of hunting and stuff like that, walking through brush. I've never seen a rattlesnake around where I'm
I
from.
thought you said
But if
you've
you
never
go,
seen one actually walk. And I'm
no,
like,
no, no,
what the
like,
fuck is your
nope,
state?
nope. No, when I'm walking through like tall grass and stuff like that, I've never heard
Okay.
one. I've never seen one.
Oh.
But you drive 33 miles away from my hometown, and you will find rattlesnakes along the riverbed.
So what
It's
you're
like,
saying is
mhm.
rattlesnakes are lazy because they
Well, they're
won't
just not
trek the
around.
33 miles to your
I just
side.
I just don't think there's really anything for them over there. Like they stay in the river because they can dig into the sand, and they can make nests down
Mhm.
there, and there's water. Like that's the thing too. They'll swim. Like they will swim in the water. You'll see rattlesnakes swimming, and then if you go under a bridge, you're supposed to be very careful and very wary about snakes falling into your boat.
Why don't you have like nets under your bridges? We're getting off topic. It's I have a whole
I
I have
get,
a whole host of questions. We'll do a whole episode on North Dakota and why.
yeah, it's
So,
interesting,
um,
but yeah,
so that was Sinners. Sinners 2025, Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld, one of the greatest films that
mhm,
I've seen in recent history. Um, I had a
yes,
lot of fun. I know you had a lot of fun watching it. This has been
yes,
great. A great uh, follow up movie on the Writer Reacts channel to
mhm.
Get Out. I really appreciate it. It was great. Any final thoughts on it, Johnny?
Um, I do want to get your take on the cotton field scenes. Like I told you
Oh,
about the cotton field scenes before you watched it,
and how
and those are
beautiful
like
it
my.
was.
It's just my favorite. It's my
Oh,
favorite scene because it just kind of reminds me of home.
oh
Like it
yeah.
reminds me of my home, but without cotton fields, just nothing.
Well,
You know what I
the
mean?
landscapes were the real moments when the aspect ratio went full IMAX. And you just got
Yes.
the full scope and depth of the
Yep.
fields, the
Mhm.
sunrises, the sunsets, and it's almost like I could feel the breeze and the rustling of the cotton, like the
Yeah.
plants. I'm just like I
Mhm.
felt like I was there. It and
Very much.
you really don't realize how much the aspect ratio affects you until it changes. And there were some times when it
Yeah.
would just do a cut from, smaller to IMAX. And then there were
Yep.
some times when it opened up, like right before the fight scene when the vampires come in, then the bars like slowly disappear. But when they
Yeah.
open up, it's almost like a window is opening up to you, and you just feel like more free. You feel more
Yep.
space, and
Mhm.
it was just beautiful. And it really made you appreciate what they wanted you to appreciate on the screen, which in this
Yeah.
case was the cotton fields. And it was just so beautiful, especially since the scene right before that was Sammy coming in without any pretext to knowing what was going on with him, and then it went to the plantations. And
Yeah.
I thought it was absolutely beautiful. I loved it, and the cinematography of it was just shot so well, and it almost looked like it
Mhm.
was filmed on grain because it had that kind of grainy 90s look to it. It made it feel more authentic because I think digital, though maybe not everybody would notice, but it would
Mhm.
have a different feel to the scenes. I
Yeah.
loved it. I love that so much.
Well, originally he wanted to film it on like a very small film or
Okay.
whatever, like almost like a 16 or
Okay.
something like that.
Okay.
But he wanted to make it almost very old timey looking.
Hmm.
But he went through a whole video on why explaining the films and stuff like that and why he used the IMAX. Like I think on the part where Remick falls into the frame, there's like an IMAX thing where it widens out or
Hmm.
whatever. So he just said, I think there's 3 or 4 scenes that he used the IMAX on, like specifically used IMAX
Yeah.
on. One was the dance scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, I thought the way it was filmed was very. It was very good at putting you there.
Yeah.
Let's put
It
it that way.
controlled your focus. It set the
Yeah.
standard for the types of cinematic experiences that people can have
Mhm.
because it challenged their senses on every level, whether it was sound or sight, and you can just feel how they were just such good puppet masters at controlling exactly what you felt, when you felt it, and why you felt it. And it was just
Yeah.
something like I've never seen before, and which is why I'm desperately hoping Ryan Coogler, if you're listening to this, I know you are. You're our main listener.
Yeah.
Please put it back out in the theaters because I would love to see it. Just for me, nobody else, just
Yeah.
me. Um,
I'd go see it again.
yeah,
Absolutely.
no,
If
just
you
me. All right, this is great. I'm definitely gonna do an alternate ending to if they give Sammy up, the savages that they are. So
Yeah.
all right, that was great. Hey, sinners, hey, check out the Writers React channel. Check it out on YouTube. Check out Patreon. Get this wherever you listen to all your audio podcasts. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. I'm Writer.
And I'm John.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.